Philadelphia. I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show.
Stop scoring, Grimes! Come on, Q! Stop scoring! Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday to all the across the Delaware Valley. This is the Anthony Gargano Show. What are you doing there, VG? We are presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. TrueMark.com/PHLY to learn about the credit union difference at TrueMark. Yeah, last night, Grimes, 46. Oh, man. You want to talk about, like, making a sweat? Like, you got to keep this pick. Listen, as much as we joke about Jeff Reese, the goalie, and all the G League Sixers, it really is the right thing to do. I mean, at this point in the season, it really is to do that. I mean, you got to be able to keep that pick. And last night, I wouldn't be surprised that after last night that Q doesn't be load managed the rest of the way because he's too good. Like, they've sent everybody. Like, everybody who could play a little. Kelly Oubre is being treated like LeBron. So it's funny how the whole thing is working out. And last night, they were up. I mean, they were destroying Houston. They were up 18 at halftime. They were up big. And it goes to overtime before finally the Rockets win. Oh, my God. Rockets red glare. Man, Q 46 last night. So that gives you another undersized guard when you're looking for the future. When you're looking for the future of the Sixers between Maxey, Grimes, and McCain. You got three guards that could score the basketball. You know, I don't know how that works when you fit into a team, but you do have some pieces that maybe you can fit around and figure it out. So we'll get into that a little bit. The Eagles, I like this move. The Eagles signed Azeez Ojulari from the Giants to be an edge rusher, and he's the perfect kind of guy that's kind of on the cusp of maybe breaking out, right? Like you get a guy with a lot of upside like Uche, and you got a couple of ends that could fit, right? That are cost effective. And speaking of Uche, you remember he was in Kansas City, so I asked Spags about him, right? And Spags said, because I like the kid, he loves ball. He goes, it was hard for him to fit into our multiple system in the middle of the season. There's a lot to learn, right? Like, when you think about, coming in the middle of the year and what Spags does on defense, he said he's a much better fit in Philadelphia. So that Fangio does not employ multiple sets like Spags does. So he could be a much better fit here. So if you got Uche and Ojulari to kind of fit in and see what you got, I mean, again, once you got Nolan Smith, you got Jalen Carter, you got Jalix Hunt, right? Like, you just need a couple of those guys to pop rotation-wise, and you might have something. A little bit later on, we'll run it by Baldy, and we'll take a look and see what Baldy thinks of Ojulari. But, from everyone you hear, it's quality, right? Like, you're looking for depth, you're looking for rotational players, and Uche and Ojulari could be that. Right? So that's kind of where, and you kind of knew that how we would be shopping down that aisle, the aisle of upside, where, it's cost effective, but there is some upside. Certainly with Ojulari, it's youth. Uche, it's youth and kind of fit and scheme. So let's see what happens. And, Fangio makes players. So that's I kind of like where they're going. I expected it. And those are signings with upside. And I think that's kind of what you need right now. You're not going to do the big splash. So if you can get some youth with some upside, maybe you strike gold again. Like Zach Baun. They struck gold with Zach Baun. That's part of the kind of model I think that the Eagles have, which is which works. Yeah, last night Sixers go down to Houston in overtime. Flyers go down to Tampa as we race to finish the season. We're just in that finish mode, finish and draft mode. Both the NBA and NHL draft will be fun around here because we're going to get excited. Certainly not for the playoff run, because it won't be, but we got some draft stuff. And certainly with the Flyers, you kind of know what's going on here. Good morning, VG. Hello.
Good morning.
Did you...
This Grimes character needs to go. Grimes got to go.
Grimes.
He needs an oblique or something.
Quentin played for the Knicks for a long time. That's when you kind of know him for like 3 or 4 years. 4 years. Kind of buried on the depth chart.
Yes.
Then he went to the Pistons. Then he went to the Mavericks, and now he's here.
So let me read you. With the Knicks, he averaged 6 points, then 11 points. Then with the Knicks in Detroit, he averaged about 6. Last year and this year, he averaged 10 with Dallas. His last 5 games, he's averaging 32.6 points.
Yeah.
5.4 rebounds, 4.8 assists, and 2.4 steals.
Yeah, he's got a nose for the ball, too.
Yeah, he's like an all-star right now.
He knows for the ball. Like I was watching early on, and I mean, he just gets those deep rebounds. He finds a way to get them off the long shots.
He's 6'5". He's actually got something.
Yeah.
He looks smaller than that.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was 6'5".
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you do? He's a free agent after this, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think listen, all about opportunity, right?
Yeah. I guess.
Sometimes you get a play. Now, here's what I can't.
Is this a guard system? Do they run a guard system where the guards flourish and the bigs struggle?
No. I mean, I think partly the game is the way it is. My only thing with Quentin would be, who you're playing against, right? Like, it's kind of like somebody's got to put up numbers. Does that...
who's he playing against on his own team?
Well, who you're playing with.
Right.
Who you're playing against, because they're playing a lot of tanking teams. And does that translate into when you really, like, when you're trying to, like, win playoff games? Like, is he at that level? When you're a bad team...
Yeah.
And that's the toughest thing to discern. When you're a bad team, somebody's going to put up numbers. You're going to score 100. In this case, they scored 137 points, right? But you're going to put up numbers. So somebody's got to accrue the numbers. The numbers are hollow because they're losing numbers.
So he's good. He excels at the tanking. In tanking, he flourishes if it's a meaningful game, crunch time.
Here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to just say that Grimes can't play. Sometimes you get an opportunity and, you get a lot of late, bloomers. Like, that's real. I mean,
these numbers are outrageous.
Yeah.
He's hit 8 3-pointers last night.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? Thank God that they didn't.
We had Devon yesterday. He's like, you won't see that against Houston. Houston's going to come out and play, blow them out.
I thought the same thing, right? And they were sleepwalking through the whole game. It was almost like, here's the other thing the Sixers have going for them, which is not good, which is teams look at that lineup and they go, we're going to win.
Right.
And they're not hyped to play.
This is true.
And the next thing you know, they're not playing no defense. And what they scored the first 44 in the first quarter last night. I mean, like they come out of the gate with 44, bagging threes like all over the place.
Sorry.
It's so weird. The league, it's so hard because you can't judge what's real and what's not real.
It was interesting because I was trying to be celebratory. Went out for a pint last night.
St. Patrick's Day pint?
I had a pint of Guinness.
Yeah.
And flyers were on everywhere. And you just hear rumblings, What are the Sixers doing? People looking at their phones. What the heck is the Sixers doing? And
it's lose.
Suddenly it's like, can you put the Sixers game up? And everyone's watching on one TV.
And all rooting for Houston.
We all grabbed.
Like everybody's looking for the Rockets.
We all grabbed Houston money line. I think they're down 19 or whatever.
Really?
Paid minus 115. That was a sweat.
They were 115.
Minus 115.
Down
at halftime.
Down 18 points.
Yeah. They were given a point. They were given a point and a half.
I wonder if the braids all over that stuff. That's crazy. That's insane. Yeah, but I mean, again, I don't know what you got as far as what's real and what's not real. I mean, that's kind of what you're. That's what Maury's got to look at. You know, and you're right. He does have size. He's a 2.
I mean, if he's stroking threes like this, I mean, he could compliment Maxey a little bit.
You know, but you said no one to play 1. Right. You still need the 1. I don't know. McCain's a 2. You got 3 2 guards, basically, is what you got. I mean, in this day and age, you could play.
I feel a little better with Maxey and Grimes. If Grimes can stay like this because he's 4 inches taller than McCain.
Problem is, they're so similar in the sense that they need the ball in their hands. Like, I didn't like Grimes and Maxey together. I didn't like. No
facilitator.
I felt like Maxey didn't get the ball enough.
Okay.
Now Maxey also was not healthy, right? Like he was struggling with his shot. I mean, it's been a grind for him. Like we think about Embiid, and of course Paul George gets shut down for the season. But really, it was tough for Maxey, man.
Well, he's carrying the load. Mentally, it's a tough thing, too. Emotionally, mentally, all that
and
stuff.
Banged up.
Yeah.
Like, so the issue is, like, I don't know what you got.
I don't think anyone knows what we got.
No, I
right
mean,
now.
you got 3 2 guards.
Yeah.
You got no one to really play the 1. I mean, that's.
Yeah, we'll see if this heater he's on lasts till the end of the season.
You know?
He just might be on a hot streak right now, feeling it.
Yeah.
Are you feeling baseball? Dude, baseball's back.
We woke up to baseball.
Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah.
Dodgers and Cubs. And how about it? Dodgers win. It's over 4-1. Dodgers win with no Betts and no Freeman.
Dude, what's up, Mickey? What they say? Mookie Betts lost 15 pounds on this flu-like illness.
Yeah.
He's a small guy to start with.
Yeah, I know.
It could be a little tough to regain.
I know. But, like, the Dodgers are that good.
Yeah, it's a great environment. The Japanese fans are into it, man.
Well,
especially the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because the way the game is celebrated in the stands in Japan,
yes,
and the way in Latin America, there's so much energy. They're banging drums, they're making noise,
cheers. They do.
But like, I love the way those places consume baseball.
Mm-hmm.
There's energy. I think it's funny. We can learn. I wish there was more energy around big league ballparks. It's too quiet. Now, Philadelphia's different because we're loud and we're always get loud. But too many other ballparks, most of the ballparks around the country, you don't see that. You don't feel that energy.
No. We don't look at baseball that way for some reason here.
Yeah.
Baseball's more of
they celebrate. Like, they're like into it.
Yeah,
man. They're chanting and singing.
Yeah, we're like watching every pitch.
Sport almost, pretty much baseball.
In Japan, yeah. They love baseball.
They love
man.
baseball.
It's cool the way
baseball's
the
not
whole
American. What are you saying?
No,
Baseball's
I'm not
American
saying
as
that.
apple
I'm
pie,
just saying,
bud.
like, there's no other sport that really is elevated to the extent that baseball is in Japan. Like, they don't really like soccer's not really a big thing. I mean, they like soccer, but like baseball, I feel is like their bread and butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I agree. I'm dying to do a game. I'd love to go to a game there.
Oh, it'd be nuts.
Have the noodles in the stands.
Oh, man.
Because they like the ramen.
Little sushi tray come out.
Instead of the hot dog, they go ramen.
Yeah. Little gyoza
I'll tell you one thing. In April and October, ramen's is good.
You can't do ramen around here. You can't. Ramen would be, you'd be getting like splashes on the back of your neck with the people. People slurp like animals in Philadelphia.
There's no way.
Why, you say we can't handle ramen?
Nah, not in close confined spaces like that, dude. No way.
You need to do it in the lap and everything too. It's you need like a little table for a ramen.
Little kids with the ramen getting splashed on your nose, dude. I'm out here.
That's like spaghetti.
You know the best is? You should put some ramen on the street. You know what the best is? In Japan, they'll do it with, they're having chopsticks and they don't do anything.
Yeah, well, it's like offensive. You're not slurping, man. You got to be like, no, you can't do that here. There'd be fist fights all over from people getting slurped on.
There you go. Ramen and baseball, baby.
It does look really good now.
That looks good.
I could dive in right now.
Yeah, I got to tell you, there's nothing better than the ramen.
I love ramen.
Yeah, I'm a soup. I love the noodle soup.
And when you're out there, like they got places like vending machines. Like you put in It's all automated. You put in what kind of like ramen you want. And you sit down at this little cubicle with dividers, almost like urinal dividers. And you just sit alone and a little window opens up and they pop out your ramen and you just sit there and slurp.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't like that.
They go like 24 hours a day.
You spent time there.
Yeah, I did a week in Tokyo. Yeah,
that sounds
fantastic.
like fun.
But
Yeah.
the Dodgers are like the Beatles. I got a video. There's a tweet going around of them at the airport. The fans waiting for the Dodgers to show up at the airport. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, they're following people down the street.
Yeah, Kiki Hernandez.
Yeah, I saw that. Like they're getting followed down the street. It's wild. The whole thing's wild.
Here's the airport.
Yeah, like look at that.
That's bonkers. The
Could
airport
you
is
imagine
packed with people.
You imagine like being must feel like a rock star. You play
Yeah,
ball.
yeah.
You're playing baseball.
Baseball
It's
in
gonna
another
be Joey
country.
Maroon.
Yeah, no, it's
like 10 hours away.
Yeah,
in
it's
another
incredible.
country.
What do you think of the Eagles signings? I like them.
I like it, man. They're just stockpiling. They're taking shots. You know, hopefully one pays off. Yeah.
Upside, you buy low. Upside.
Yes.
Ojulari. I mean, I don't know. Ojulari. I read you what Spags thought of Uche.
Yeah. That sounds like, I would imagine they probably got that assessment too before they,
Yeah.
because they're tight with Andy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he could be, if it's not as complex, and you know what happens, right? You come in the middle of the year and you have to work, you have to play in this complex defense with multiple fronts. You know, you're not going to be as sound, right? Now you have a full year. The Vic doesn't run as many multiple fronts. I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Zach was all over the Ojulari signing. He's been banging that drum for
He loved him. He said that.
Yeah.
Maybe he said it with us.
Was it 14 sacks in 29 games the guy's got in 3 seasons?
Yeah, like it comes out to 8. Like his snap count projects to 8 sacks a season.
I mean, that's good numbers.
You get him and Uche for like what, a fourth of the sweat money?
Yeah.
They're younger.
Yeah, and you know,
I mean,
again, a rotational
you
thing.
get some injury concerns with Ojulari.
Yeah, but it's rotational stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think you need that depth. I mean, that's a big part of it.
I had to go because, you know, I don't know much about Azeez Ojulari. I had to go with, you know, how you make a meme to remember a name. I had to go Valari. Ojulari. Whoa, 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 whoa. I was doing that this morning. I was like, how do I remember?
Are you
Yeah,
serious?
sure. I was like, how do I remember this guy's name? I was like, Ojulari.
Look at my boy. He's out of his mind.
We're going to be playing that song soon enough.
Everyone will be singing at the ball, and this is the link. Ojulari. Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
big sack,
Every time he
and everyone starts singing it. Yeah.
All right. We got lots to get to. Baldy on Ojulari a little bit later in the program. We'll talk to David Murphy, columnist from The Inquirer. We love David. He does great work. David wants to talk about, David wrote a piece about spite hating the SEC.
Yeah, how SEC is kind of ruining the brackets right now, and the only way to enjoy it is to root against them. You always have there's so many teams. You can always find something
You're
to read.
funny. You want to do a spite bracket.
Yeah, I love spites. I love anything spite.
You are.
I'm all
You're
about a spite bracket. I
Yeah.
hate Drake. Like Drake. I hate ding dongs, and I hate that character on Seinfeld, so I root against Drake. And that way we could do that throughout.
You hate the Drake.
Hate the Drake.
Yeah. Well, by the way, the Drake cakes are the fake cakes.
Bobos, yeah.
They're Bobo
As tasty cake people, we cannot root for Drake.
I agree. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, that's
No,
all.
and they're the worst. They're
There's-
not even. There's the Drake cakes aren't even like dairy. There's no dairy in them.
Oh,
How do you
you
make a
got to have
cake?
dairy in a cake. If you're going
How
to
do you make a cake with no dairy?
It's not a cake.
The Little Debbie.
Yeah.
They're like horrible. The Drake is a horrible item.
Agree.
Do they make anything that's any good? The Drake.
No, it's the ding
All
dong.
those
I'm
can
pulling
do.
them up.
The
I'm pulling them up.
Twinkie, that's a science project. The Twinkie.
Yeah, they're like lab experiments. They
Like,
can
they're
survive a nuclear
horrible.
war or something.
Yeah, like you can't eat that stuff. Like the tasting cake is a nice bakery, man. It's a bakery.
Yodels, funny bones.
Yeah, they're
Nah,
funny
man.
bones.
Who wants to eat anything called a
that's
funny bone?
Bobo cake.
The ring dings,
Oh,
devil
my
dogs.
buddy Andy was a ring ding guy.
fruit pie.
Yeah, the ring ding's a bad.
Nah, those
gig.
fruit pies are weak.
Coffee cakes.
They got like that glaze on them.
Yeah, they hate to drink. I agree with you.
Yeah, so
right.
I'd love to do a bracket like that.
All right. Well, I figured
Like
at some point.
Yeah, I love Breaking Bad. New Mexico, I'm in. So I'll just root New Mexico because Breaking Bad is one of my favorite
find
shows.
64 of these reasons.
Find a reason. Well, maybe. Just say narrow it down and find some teams.
All right,
to
I'll
root
give
for.
you just off the. I'm looking at the thing right now. I'll give you. I don't know, Lipscomb. You got anything for Lipscomb?
Where's that? Tennessee?
Yeah.
We said, oh yeah, I had a good time in Nashville. I'm pro Lipscomb.
Okay.
Yeah, I
All
like
right.
honeycombs. I like the combs.
All right, Norfolk State.
Nah, I'm not a big Virginia fan. I hate driving through it.
Okay.
It feels like forever. There's so many speed traps. Anything Virginia related,
You're out. You're out. All right. Well, we'll have some fun with that. Phil Martelli for some real basketball talk coming up at 10. Baldy at 10:30. Brain, the whole crew on a Tuesday across the Delaware Valley. Let's get it started. We'll talk about some of our friends.
yeah, let's talk about GLAT. You know, for you guys, you know who you are. Receding, scalp shine a little bit through the hair, thinning it out. GLAT Hair is here to help you. GLAT Hair has been restoring and defending hairlines for over 30 years, so it's no wonder they got the reputation that they do. Their proven results and experienced team are only a few reasons the GLAT Hair name has stood the test of time. GLAT Hair by Morgenstern Medical isn't just about restoration, it's about innovation. Their breakthrough specialized GLAT Hair techniques really dramatically change lives and, more importantly, hairlines. The GLAT Hair technique consists of one-on-one care. You get 100% personalized hair restoration plan of action designed just for you and your specific hair loss. You get follow-up care, and they hook you up with some cutting-edge hair loss prevention treatments, medications, and more. GLAT Hair can help you keep the hair you already have or help you bring back what you've already lost. If you'd like some more information or ready to defend that hairline of yours, today visit GLATHairMM.com, GLATHairMM.com, or you can give them a call or text them 610-980-4000.
All right. Let's talk about some Golden Nugget Jewelers. Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. That's our main Yarone's place on 8th and Chestnut, the heart of Jewelers Row. If you've met that someone and you fell in love and you're like, this is it, I'm going to pop the question. Well, what do you do for their engagement ring? Right? If you got to know somebody. You just do. You can't walk in there blind. Most people know. I have no clue. I didn't have any clue of the diamond, the engagement ring, what like the settings. That's where your own comes in. I've sent, hundreds and hundreds of guys over to Golden Nugget Jewelers, and I'm telling you, everybody tells me the same thing. Oh man, that was awesome, lifesaver, great experience. Your own will explain everything to you. He's got the designers for the setting, Corey Viraggio, that'll make it pop. He's got the largest selection of certified diamonds. He'll pick the diamond shape for you, work within your budget, make the whole thing really and easy, right? That's what you want. And not stressful with your budget. That's a big part of it. Golden Nugget Jewelers, right in the heart of Jewelers Row in Center City. Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. All right. Now joining us, the terrific columnist for the Inquirer.
I bet you he doesn't eat ding-dongs. Or Yankee Doodles.
Yankee. I hated Yankee. I always thought about the Yankees. You're right. David Murphy, happy belated St. Patrick's Day, brother. I don't think we can't hear you, buddy. Take us off mute.
He's very serious looking. Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if he knows he's on. He does not look like he knows he's on.
David, can you hear us?
Yo, buddy. Yes, he does not know we're on. He's on.
Maybe pull him down so he's not picking his nose or something until he knows he's on.
You want to go back and forth on a phrase? All right.
I'll figure that one out.
He looked already prepped, ready to go.
Oh, he's very focused. Like,
very.
He's not messing around.
Very focused. Are you anti-SEC?
I'm starting to be. Yeah.
Are you?
I saw the commissioner or the head SEC is a little pompous.
We got him?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if we got him now. Dave.
What's up?
Yo, happy belated St. Patrick's Day.
Thanks, man. You sound like you're dragging a little bit. Were you out tipping back the pints yesterday?
No, buddy. I wish I was.
It's allergy season.
I like this every day in the spring and the fall.
I'm with you, man. Dude, it's the worst. It's really the worst time of year.
How did what'd you do yesterday? Celebrate? You have some fun?
Yeah, I met up with a couple with a buddy of mine from college. You know, nothing too big. We're on baby watch right now, so can't get too crazy.
Nice,
Oh,
dude. Congratulations,
nice.
buddy.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know
So
what
we'll
you're
see.
having?
Yeah, it's a boy.
Oh,
Oh, masculine child.
dude. Let me tell you something.
We'll see.
This is your first, right, Dave?
Correct. So I have literally no idea what I'm getting into.
It is the greatest thing in the world, brother. As a father of two boys, it is the greatest thing ever. I love it every day. And now they're 15 and 12, and you know, every day I'm consumed by sports with them, and it's enjoy every stage from when.
Yeah, it's weird. You know, I don't know how old you were when you had your first kid, but I'm 42, so we're a little late in the game. But we've had the benefit of watching our friends obviously raise kids and people like yourself raise kids. And I was actually out at Wellhands and Kachi yesterday with my buddy and his two kids who we've seen kind of grow up. And you know, he's all of a sudden he's 9 years old and he's watching the sports games on TV while we're trying to talk and you know breaking down guys' secondary leads and uh, you know it's crazy.
It is because they go from like it's like in a blink. Like I'm telling you, you got to savor every part of this whole thing. But like my little one, I looked at him the other day and he sprout up. Right, he just turned 12, and I go and I look at his hands, and I love this, right? Because he plays quarterback. His hands are huge. He plays baseball.
Yeah.
And I go, dude, put your hand next to mine. And I got big hands. And his hands are almost my size. And I'm like, when did this happen? My older one, I look up to. He's like a beast. And, you know, I remember there were my little boys with their little curly hair. And, it's the best, brother. I was a little younger than you, but around the same age. I mean, it's the best. You're going to go, it's the greatest gift in the world.
I'll tell you what doesn't go by in a blink is pregnancy.
Oh,
It feels like it's been 3 years. So let's get it started. Come on.
that's it. Yeah, listen, I wish you guys the best. Any tips you need, please. I love it, man. That's my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, we're excited.
You wrote a fun column about the SEC. And can you believe now 3 years in a row, no Big 5 team? Don't you miss it? I miss the runs.
Yeah, in fact, I'm gonna write a little. I was kind of scrambling because of the late deadline or the early deadline and the the selection show. But I've got I've got a whole story about growing up as a kid. The kids these days they don't know, but we used to have these things called Walkmen that you would sneak in the fourth period and run the headphone up your sleeve and listen to the games on AM radio and then run home and watch Bryce Drew hit a runner or Tyus Edney go full court. And
I covered that game, that Bryce Drew game.
Yeah, dude, I remember watching that. It's funny. I remember exactly kind of where I was, getting home, watching that on TV. It was insane.
I can't believe you. I'm sorry. I can't believe you brought that up because so what I did was after that game, I went to Valpo for the week. And I spent the week at Valpo with Homer Drew and Bryce. Homer was the coach. And I rode in the bus from Valparaiso, Indiana to St. Louis where the regional was.
Man.
And I love those types of stories. And it was that I can't believe you brought that out. One of my favorite stories to write.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that was March, man. And part of that was I was a kid growing up in the Poconos, kind of, I loved Philadelphia sports. Parents grew up in the area, but that was always kind of my connection was the Big Five to Philly sports, in between football season and baseball season. And, you get the bracket and Penn was always in it and Malik Rose and Drexel was in it. And, My LaSalle guys, they were before my time, their success. But then Nova was my team. I was a big Kittles, huge Kerry Kittles fan. And unfortunately, I still remember watching Tony Gonzalez just completely dominate them.
Yeah.
And those Lavin teams, man, they had so much talent. But yeah, dude, I mean, it's sad. And like I wrote, it's, I don't know that it's coming back. I mean, it's sad. And the Big Five has kind of been on the way out for a long time, but I think Villanova might be in danger of joining them.
Yes.
I know their alums don't think so. And they're still convinced that they can. They remind me a lot of the Temple alums I talked to back in 2010 when they were trying to run Dump out of town and convinced that the next John Chaney was going to be walking through that door. So, look, I get it. Like Villanova's, if college basketball breaks the right way and there is a place for these basketball only schools, Villanova may have that chance. But I think the SEC is making a statement here. They're these budgets are rounding errors for them, and it doesn't take much investment for them to have a basketball team that can really carry a banner for the school. So I hope like I said, root against them, but I fear this may be a sign of things to come.
Well, you bring up a really interesting point because the NILs now become almost no salary cap, right? Like the small market versus the big market. And if you're a big football school, like you said, you have the budget to go all in with basketball. Whereas these smaller schools you can't compete.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of scale, I mean, you've got, these big state schools that have been around for 200 years churning out, 30,000 graduates, and a certain percentage of them are going to go on to open up, car dealerships that gross hundreds of millions of dollars a year, let alone, some of these bigger donors. And, I know Villanova feels like they have, they aren't Temple, they aren't LaSalle, they aren't St. Joe's, obviously. They think they can, I think they think they can kind of hang with the big boys. But, at a certain point, and, this is my big thing with college sports, it gets to a point where it's like, why do you even want to do that? Like if Villanova becomes Alabama, like what's the fun of rooting for Villanova? So it's the arms race is kind of dispiriting in a way.
I wonder if down the line what you end up seeing is two divisions. And
yeah, I think so.
Like and that's where the relegation could come in for both football and basketball. You have the elite division and then the second tier division, and you play for both. And that's where, unfortunately, you're right. The Big Five. I'm a Temple guy, and I remember I was at the Temple News when I went to Temple, and John Chaney let me come in to see practice at 6 a.m. and I met him at 5:15, and I spent the whole morning with him. And then I went up doing that story a bunch of times when I was in New York and later for Philly Mag, and it was. They were powerhouses. Like watching Temple play UNLV or Temple Duke, meet John Chaney and Coach K going at it. God, I miss it, man. I miss it. That's why your column, I think, really hit home for us.
Yeah, I mean it. And look, it's actually really fascinating. I've been writing about this for going on a decade now because it's really been trending in this direction. But there's so many factors to it. I mean the one and done alone, like the fact that Jay Wright was able to do what he did kind of while the one and done era was going on. I mean, if you think about it, so think about this, Kentucky, Syracuse was my kind of like, those were my formative years. That's my era, right? Those Kentucky teams, Reed Shepherd and Mercer and all those guys, you had the entire team was going to be there for when you recruited a kid, you recruited for 3 years, right? So you had a finite amount of roster spots that now you have 3 times as many with all these one and done players. These Kentucky teams, you're in a 4-year span. Kentucky is recruiting 30 players where they used to recruit 15 or 20 players, right? Just because they're turning over so fast. And that eats into the talent supply available to teams like, Temple was always the team that could get the guys that, were a little rough around the edges and couldn't quite be one of those 15 for Kentucky. We're now, and then multiply that by all these big schools, and then you introduce, the money, and it's just they're really fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah, no, and you know what's lost too is, the quality of coaching. Like you brought up, like we had Phil Martelli on at 10 o'clock. Phil was a great coach. Like Jay was a great coach. Like we're talking elite basketball minds that that understand how to coach the game, how to win. John was like that. I mean, John's matchup zone was one of the toughest things ever to penetrate. I mean, that stuff, it doesn't matter as much when you have like elite talent.
Yeah. And actually, I would be very interested to hear what Martelli, I think I know what he would say. And I think it's why, Jay retired and Coach K retired and Dumpf is retiring and Saban retired in football. I think it's one of those things where it's a little different situation. But look, you got to also keep in mind, I mean, Chaney had, 3 or 4 NBA guys on those teams, and Jay had 3 or 4, not just, Jay had a million of them, and they all went on to be pretty good in the NBA. And Delonte and Jameer were, 2 excellent players who were NBA quality players. And I think the question I would ask Phil is, do you think you would be able, in this day and age, would you ever have a situation where those 2 guys are at St. Joe's? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
2 guys at that talent level, regardless. I know their circumstances kind of led them to be available, but I'm curious if they would be available these days, especially after their first year when everyone comes calling. I mean, look at Houston. They've got, I know they got a kid from UMass they recruited after his freshman year. They got another one of those guys that they got, he's been there for 2 years, but got him from a smaller school, Fordham maybe. I just, especially at LaSalle and Temple's level, I'm curious if guys can even stay, Well,
look at St. John's. I mean, Patino goes all portal. Like he's not even thinking about recruiting. He just looks into the portal and snatches his guys, brings them in, pays them. And like you saw that docuseries that's really interesting, behind the scenes stuff. I mean, that's what, and they're good, right? Like he turned that program around in overnight.
Yep. And then I'll be interested to see if that's sustainable. I mean, first of all, there's only one Rick Pitino, and second of all, can you really do that and do it for 10 years and have a team like Villanova or Temple under Chaney that or St. Joe's under Martelli that was actually, bridge generations and kind of sustain success. I'll be interested to see if St. John's can actually do that.
I mean, do you think that that's a blueprint? I mean, if it can succeed at St. John's, it should be able to succeed at Nova. They have comparable. If you look at their NIL budgets for both schools, I mean, they're comparable. They're in the $3 to $4 million range. So, I mean, the coaches are important. Villanova hits right on the right coach. I mean, I feel like they could be competitive.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I was saying is like, I think any team in the Big East, for example, or any team really anywhere can get a crop of guys that for a year or two, is one of the best teams at college basketball. I think the question is, I mean, Villanova, we're talking about a team that went, 10, 15 years as just a perennial, top 25 was the expectation bare minimum, and that was always a function of program building. You brought guys in that hung around for at least a couple seasons, 2 or 3 years. The guy I was talking to somebody the other day, and the guy I brought up was Dante DiVincenzo. I mean, how much would after his sophomore year, how much would Nova in this day and age have to pay to keep him? Because if you remember, I think at the end of that sophomore year, he kind of popped a little bit, and people were like, "Oh man, this guy might be the best of them." And then he came back for his junior year and dominated. I'm curious in this day and age, would he still be at Villanova? Or would there be another team out there throwing a huge crooked number at him that a school like Villanova just can't justify?
Yes, that's the biggest issue. Right. That you're constantly have to recruit your own kids. And then when you're recruiting your own kids, it also, affects how you coach them. Can you coach them hard, knowing that, I might get them to a certain level, and then they're going to go, well, I'm not dealing with that again. I'll see you.
Yep. Yeah. And like you said, I mean, I think there's two two kind of big high level kind of outcomes. The one is the one you noted, Ant, that you have essentially the Big East schools and maybe the ACC schools, basketball schools, kind of forming their own conference, right? And
I love
you
that
know,
idea. I've been hearing rumblings about that
but
happening. Love
I
it.
guess I'm so jaded by these presidents and these athletic directors, especially the SEC, that look, man, it's it's like it's like some like hardcore business stuff. I mean, these guys are like looking to cut people out. Um, there's only one pie, and if the SEC is like, well, we can divide it 40 ways or we can divide it 70 ways, are they willing to play along with this kind of second tier, or not even second tier, but separate but equal, basketball conference? And I don't know if I'm not confident that they're going to end up erring on the side of what's best for the group. I think we've seen them prioritize kind of bottom line profit, especially in this day and age. And I think
I mean, you're right. Look at football, right? They basically
Yep.
croaked the Pac-12.
Yep, exactly.
The Big Ten
Yeah.
and the SEC are going to be the only two conferences. It's going to be like AFC and the NFC. And then
Yeah, I mean, it's like Stringer Bell stuff, man. Like these guys are just like sitting in a room, kind of, and it's I hope Villanova and
Stringer Bell.
Marquette and stuff like that will find themselves on the right side of things. But again, these SEC guys are they play a different game down there on the football field and in the boardroom. So I mean, we saw what happened with North Carolina. I mean, the AD is on the selection committee, gets a $68,000 bonus, and that's the kind of stuff that's going on.
And if they win a game, I think he gets another like $200,000 bonus if they win a game.
Yeah. It's
I'll be honest, I kind of respect the NCAA's level of DGAF, where they're just like, whatever, man, we're corrupt. They're like FIFA, it's like, we don't care. You know what? Not only are we going to rig the game, we're going to put the guy on the selection committee who's rigging the game.
His name's Bubba.
And let him rig it.
Bubba Cunningham. Did you see the West Virginia governor who's going to lead an investigation? Did you see his podium? He had a sign on the podium that said NCAA, National Corruption Athletic Association.
I wonder how long it took his staff to come up with that.
Right.
That's but yeah, I mean, we're at a point where, like, really, if you want, it's almost like it just needs to burn down and get. Look at that guy. Look at this guy. Does that guy inspire any confidence at all? My lord. Yeah, but at this point, you just kind of want to like see the ridiculousness. That's like the other option. You can root against the SEC, or you can just root for it all to be as ridiculous as possible. So, it burns down faster, and you can kind of start a little bit of regrowth. And maybe this West Virginia thing is what we need. It's the spectacle we all need at this time of year.
Yeah,
they are a great villain. I saw yesterday on ESPN the head of the SEC, and he's basically like, "Wow, there's 14 major athletic sports, and SEC's number 1 and 12 of the 14."
Yeah, they love it, man. Baseball. Oh,
yeah, it's like
God,
everything.
they're evil. Yeah, they are the evil empire, man. Hey, well,
Dude, I'll tell you
we're
what,
talking
man.
college real quick. Did you see Dion wants to have an opponent for their spring game, right? For Colorado's spring game.
Right.
And Syracuse is interested. So are we far off from having spring football games in college?
I didn't see that, but it's very intriguing. I don't know. I think there would obviously be an appetite for it. I mean, these college football fans will watch it at any time.
I would watch it.
I mean, if they can make money off it, it's going to happen.
I could see like an
Exactly.
abbreviated season. Like, you're going to tell me, like, Colorado, Syracuse, they put that game on, that spring game on. People, that does bigger numbers than anything playing. NBA finals or playoffs, any of it.
Well, as a degenerate gambler, I'll tell you that anytime there's something that you can bet on, there's going to be an audience for it.
Yeah. But it's still
and
football, right? Football bigger than anything, trumps everything.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it would be, yeah, I think it would be, I think it'll take a lot of willpower for the NCAA not to dive in head first.
Yeah. I could see like a limited spring kind of thing, like where they all
like
play.
a full game or 7-on-7s or
No,
full game.
they're going to play full game. That's the spring game. They're going to play a full game. I can totally see it. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, there's gonna be a lot of weird stuff going on in the next few years. It's gonna be interesting to see how it all shakes out. But it's kind of the Wild West right now. You
Yeah.
know, we're like back in the Wildcatting days.
All right,
I was gonna go ahead.
Go now.
Oh, I was gonna go ask him if he eats any Drake's cakes as a kid. If he was a fan of Drake's cakes.
Drake's cakes?
Yeah.
No, I was a tasty cake guy.
That's fine. I know it.
What's Drake's cakes? Which ones are they?
Yodel, Ding Dong,
Twinkies.
Twinkie.
No, man.
No, that's Hostess.
I don't like-
Hostess. Yeah, Hostess.
If it's got white cream in it, I don't eat it.
No, it's not even man-made. There's no dairy in it.
Well, I mean, and I hate to break it to you, but tasty cakes aren't exactly organic food.
I hear you.
Hey. Philadelphia treasure, Mr. Murphy.
You know
I think,
what's amazing? My grandmother used to go, like, you could go to South Philly and get, like, there was a bakery on every other corner, right? And it was like for pastries. You had the bread bakeries and you had the pastries. And like there was one around the corner, Randazzo's. You went to Randazzo's and they would have these donuts. And they were like, they're pristine, they're beautiful, all wholesome,
Yes.
3 ingredients.
Yes.
Right? Like, and now you can't even find any of that.
No, dude.
Michael Pollan wrote a great book called In Defense of Food. He also wrote The Omnivore's Dilemma. And in one of them, he leads it with an anecdote about this Twinkie that's been in his desk for like 20 years. And he like opens it and it's still like as good as new, you know? And he kind of uses that to dive into the fact that, you know, we're kind of just eating chemicals rather than
and it's changing our DNA. I just read a piece about that, about how our DNA has changed, and we're not all human because of our DNA of what we've ingested.
No,
we're only like 88% human.
Plastic. We use so many plastics at this
point.
Truth.
It's crazy.
Well, that was like not to get all political, but that was my whole thing back there when everyone's, you know, the whole vaccine thing where it's like, dude, I get it, but like, have you seen the stuff that you're putting into your body for your entire lifetime? And you're worried, like if we're that worried about chemicals going into our body, I got a message for you. Look at the ingredients on the stuff that you're eating, you know?
Amen, brother. Yeah, we got to do a whole show on that. Murph, you're the best, pal. Always love talking to you, buddy. Good luck.
All right.
Keep us posted on the baby. We'll give the shout out, all right?
Let's go. I got to check my phone.
There it is.
Still good.
I love it. Happy Father's Day soon. See you, pal. There he is, David Murphy, columnist for The Inquirer. I'll never forget that excitement, waiting for the baby to be born.
Did you go old school style, like sit at the bar, wait for the phone call, or did you go into the room?
No, I was in the room. No. I was in the room.
You got to do the room.
Yeah, I held the
No,
baby.
man, like 1960s, the men were at the bar, wait for the phone call.
No.
Well, it wasn't 1960 when he was having his kid.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I respect the old
I had
times.
Anthony in my arms, first thing.
Did you?
Would have been nurse.
Did you do the shirt off, skin to skin?
Yes.
Yeah?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I did that. Both Anthony and Oswald.
Yeah.
I had them both, I guess.
For some reason, I took a child development elective class in undergrad. That was way back in the 90s.
Really?
Like, that was important stuff, man.
Really? That's
skin
impressive.
stuff.
What's the
Good knowledge
purpose
for
behind the skin?
For
to
a
skin?
dog, for a doggy parent.
Yeah, for someone to
Yeah.
kiss out. The child development class scared the bejesus out of me. I was
Yeah,
like,
really.
I'm not having one of these. Get out of here.
All right. Time now for the brain.
Brain. Red, the brain finder.
What's up, Grimes?
Good morning, guys. How you doing today?
Dude.
By the way, I watched last night. I actually don't ask me because I have a Houston thing. So I saw Houston was down by like a zillion, and I'm like, I cannot freaking believe this. I got like literally sick to my stomach because
Everybody did,
huge
yeah.
position. Houston to win the division. So I'm like, this is a layup. This is, in fact, one of my betting partners goes, Houston minus 1,500. Should we take it tonight? There's just no way the Sixers win this game. I'm like, I'm not going to do it, but I have to admit, I go, out of all the games you've said, I go, I cannot see any possibility they win. First up that I see is literally like 38 to like 19 or something like that. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? And I put on the Quentin Grimes show, and I got to tell you, his performance was better than the box score,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. The box
Yeah.
score was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was like, the degree of you know when you watch it with gymnastics, they go to degree of difficulty for a dive or
Yes.
some
Yes.
kind
You're
of
right.
He was hitting shots. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the heck?
Yeah.
Look, I want to
Contested
say,
threes.
look, maybe contested threes. He looks, again, I'll tell you what, if you're a Dallas fan with Nico Harrison, you're like, all right, we give away this guy for nothing. We give away Luka Doncic for nothing. I just laughed at myself. But this looks like, honestly, between him and McClain, maybe they hit two really lucky things. And anytime you hit the 16th pick in the draft, it's luck. And anytime you get a guy like this who's played in the league. Although I looked at his stats last night, Anthony, he's actually kind of played well every year, just never gotten minutes.
Well, I was talking about this with VG. Sometimes guys just get overlooked. And it's possible.
Yeah. Oh, it happens all the time. You know that.
Like
yeah,
once you get,
that.
You get a chance and an opportunity that, all of a sudden you flourish. The interesting thing with the Sixers are McCain, Grimes, and Tyrese.
Maxey.
You got 3 twos.
The same players. Yeah, as I say, the same.
And they're all ball
the problem
dominant.
is it's the same player 3 different ways, and you're like, okay, and that is a problem, right? And you say to yourself, you really, you don't really have, I guess, a true point guard, right? You don't really have.
You don't have a point guard, and only Grimes, and he's a stretch, but only Grimes can really play the wing. I mean, look, it is to a degree positionless, so you could have them on the floor, but the problem is Grimes and Maxey both need the ball in their hands.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What would you do? Because they look like they're clearly all, obviously we know Maxey is, but I'm saying they look like they're all assets to me. Like, I do think Grimes, watching what I'm watching, I think this guy has shown he could play. I always say, can a guy playing the championship team could be one of the top 8 men? A guy that plays 17 minutes a night in the championship team. That's a guy I say, all right, if he could play 17 minutes in the championship team, then this is a guy that I would want on my team that obviously is good. I feel like watching him, this guy could go to OKC, Cleveland, Boston, play 17 minutes a night, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, this guy, I could see that. Like, I really could. I think these are all assets. What would you do if you were Daryl Morey in terms of saying, all right, from the standpoint of what you just described, right? Like, they're kind of the same kind of players. What would you do? Do you think there's anything they can do?
I mean, the problem is you're going to have to make deals. You're going to have to reconstruct your team. And the other issue is that you're still going to run into, which is the Embiid specter. Like, I don't know that you can win anything if you don't know what Embiid is, because you have so much of your cap going to Embiid, and your build, like, no,
you're married to him, and there ain't no divorce. There's no Normans here. Like, this is a true ride or die situation. So yeah, I mean, they're certainly tied to that. Hopefully it works out. And then Paul George again. What's Paul George? 34, 35?
35
again. Now maybe again. And I'm not one of those people who rips things after the fact. If I thought something was good, I hate when people do that. I hate after the fact when the data is shown, people are like, oh, I knew it, when they didn't know it at the time. When they signed Paul George, I was 100% thought it was the right move. I would never criticize. And so he could average 1 point a game, and I'm there like, what were they doing? But this version of Paul George that I saw, and again, maybe Anthony wasn't healthy all year. I don't know. But this was nowhere near the guy I saw the previous, 12 years? I saw maybe.
And it's so hard because they were never together for a long stretch, right? Maxey, Embiid, and George.
No, they were not.
And then you wonder, just Paul George just going through the motions and, just took the cash? Like, you kind of always had the feeling like that he was never in love with the idea of Philadelphia, but the money was there. It's like, all right, I'll take the money,
Like, yeah, I'll take the money, right? And I remember there was an episode long. I used to watch the Brady Bunch, and like they had Greg Brady, Johnny Bravo, because the jacket fit. For Paul George, the jacket fit. All right, I'm getting paid. My last big contrast, I'll put on the jacket. I even want to, did they even want him to even want to be here, as you said? And the answer was, I don't think he did. I think you said it, Anthony. He wanted to go back to LA. LA said, we're not going to pay you this, and here he ended up. And now it's you'll be reading, can the Sixers trade the expiring contract of Paul George, right?
Yeah. No, you're right. Anything stand out to you as far as the tournament? Anything else pop up?
Nothing else, Anthony, in terms of what you talked about. I mean, in the games we talked about yesterday, the lines all went my way, which I always like to see. And the games I bet, they basically all moved about a point and a half in my favor, most of them. So I do like to see that. Usually when the market goes your way, it wins. Did hit our, Anthony, Zach LaVine did hit our yesterday. Sacramento, he did get us over. And, oh God, there was other one we had in that same game. It was Zach LaVine, and it was, can't think what it was right now, but it did win. We did hit our 2 Sacramento props against Memphis, and I got a couple tonight, which I'd like to share with the people that I think have advantages. First, Norman Powell, Anthony. Listen to this. He was 40-5 to over 15.5 points. 40-5. He left injured 2 games ago against the Lakers when they played a few minutes. He left injured. He came back after like a 2-week layoff or whatever it was. They won by a zillion against Charlotte, and he only played like 24 minutes. Now, first of all, I think they won by a zillion. That was part of it. And maybe there was some rust. I'm going to say it again. He was 40-5, okay, to over 15.5 points. That's not a fluke to me. I'm going all in on Norman Powell over 15.5 points. I got 14.5 even last night, which is even that much better. But even 15.5, I have to do that. And I'll look myself in the mirror gladly if it loses. I think that was an overreaction to having a bad first game off of maybe a rust spot. That's our first one for the day. Next, same game, we're going to take Zubac. This guy's been great for me all year. I like over 11.5 rebounds. He goes over that close to 60% of the time. I was able to take odds getting it on a bet that I think is, it's called 58% winner, I think, and I'm taking odds. I'm going to take Zubac over 11.5 rebounds. Last but not least, this one's the scariest of them because I could see a path where the blowout happens and I get egg on my face. But Nick Claxton has been getting a lot more minutes recently. He's getting over 30 minutes a game versus the beginning of the year. He's getting more like 25, 26, now getting over 30. Over 8.5 points against a tough Boston team, 35-24 for the season. I think it's still, even with the blowout factor, I just like this bet. I think it's a better chance with this minutes uptick that he gets closer to 9 than under 9.
All right.
Any leans tonight for the tournament playing games?
There wasn't. And again, VG, like I one thing I just don't do, I don't, and people say, oh, who do you like? Who do you like? And I cannot bet something that I don't feel like, that I just don't feel good about, that I feel like I don't want to put my money on, because I'm only doing stuff based if I think there's enough of an edge to do something. And if I don't see that edge, I'm just not going to do it. And I just don't. So, look, but again, I always say, this, Anthony and VG, there wasn't a ton of stuff for me this tournament that fit my criteria. But again, once these games start, I'm looking, again, I'll repeat for everyone watching, if I can get in a game where the teams are trying their hardest, if I can get the better team taking points at a non-blowout game. So if, let's say I have a 4-point favorite that's up 13, and in the second half I could take 2 points, okay? I have a better team taking points, trying their hardest. If I can get situations like that, I'm making big, bold, aggressive bets, and I think I'm going to go 3-2 or better.
There you go. That Brain, always great. Brought to us by the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. We'll talk to you tomorrow, buddy.
Appreciate you guys.
There he is. Brain. Well, let's talk about some of our friends, like the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. Tournament time is upon us. And everybody can't wait for Thursday. Couple days away.
Can't wait for tonight.
Yeah, playing.
I mean, I'm not like Brain. I'm watching the games. I got to bet the game. I got to find something to bet tonight for these two games.
Well, the playing games are always fun.
Well, St. Francis, Alabama State. North Carolina. Here's the thing. North Carolina, San Diego State. I want to bet San Diego State, but you think the team who everyone's saying, you don't deserve to get it in, they probably come motivated and laser focused. Yeah, it is interesting. I'm curious to see what Phil thinks about Carolina in that situation. Mm-hmm. All right. But they had no win. They had none. Nah, the West Virginia governor laid out the resumes. I mean, my God. Yeah. But all of it's down. All the tourney action right on the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. You can check it out. In fact, Florida is a good bet.
St. John's, $25 brings back 600.
Yeah, that's the thing. Florida's a good bet, but it's not a lot of value.
Right. But St. John's is all value.
Yes.
All right. The way they go at it, and they just wear teams down. They'll be interesting. So check it out. All the games right there on your app. You have a lot of fun with it. And don't forget the casino as well. You can make your downtime fun time. Live dealer blackjack, roulette, baccarat, like my man over here plays, all that stuff. And your hot online slots. New customers, if you're down in the first 24 hours, you get up to $1,000 casino bonus back. You got to be, betparks.com has all the details. You got to be 21. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, Maryland, Ohio. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, let's talk about our friends over at TrueMark Financial Credit Union. And savings are important, duh, but I really didn't realize this till later in life. Too late, not too late in life, but later than I should have. So it's never too late to hop in and try and get on that savings bandwagon. And with spring here, let's spring into some savings with our friends at TrueMark Financial Credit Union. So if you got financial goals, whether it's buying a house, taking a cool vacation, or, and more importantly, maybe building up that emergency fund in case something unexpectedly happens, you need a little bit of cash, TrueMark Financial Credit Union's got the perfect savings account for you. TrueMark Financial offers high-rate certificates and money market accounts to help your money grow faster and work harder for you with some nice compounding interest at some nice numbers. Visit TrueMark.com for their rates and to learn more. TrueMark Financial, federally insured by the NCUA, equal opportunity lender, and rates are subject to change.
All right. This portion of the program presented by Rite Aid, riteaid.com for the pharmacy and store nearest you. Now, I'm very excited. I was talking about some of the March projects that I used to do when I was in New York. One of my favorites was following St. Joe's.
You gotta like the Joe.
It was the best. And Phil was so gracious to allow us to be in, right?
That'd be a blast hanging out with Phil.
It was great. And, you know, that run was a spectacular run, too. It was a lot of fun. Joining us now, now he's a great analyst.
He's not only a great analyst, but he's the dad of an NCAA tournament coach, too.
That's right. You were talking about our agendas for March. I'm rooting Bryant.
Yeah.
Upset Michigan State.
And
all right.
We're looking for reasons to root for.
Martelli
Kobe
Jr.
Bryant,
Yeah,
we like.
yeah,
Bryant's good. Martelli, we're good.
Yeah, we're good. Let's welcome Phil to the program. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Good, buddy. First of all, congratulations on another successful Coaches versus Cancer breakfast that you guys do every year. It's an amazing event. We saw it live with Dick Girardi joined us yesterday, and we saw the Palestra floor packed. It's got to be such great pride. Tell us how that thing started and the evolution of it.
Anth, I have to be full disclosure. I was stuck in Indianapolis yesterday. I wasn't there.
Oh, you got stuck. Oh, wow.
I got stuck in Indianapolis. I'm on the NIT selection committee.
Oh, wow.
We met until 9:00 on Sunday night. I went to sleep. I had a 5:00 flight to get back to Philadelphia at 7:20, drive to the Palestra. I got up at 3:00 and I got notification that my flight was canceled.
Oh,
and I just went into complete panic mode. Thought I was rebooked I was rebooked by the airline. It said 7 a.m. flight. And I'm like, okay, I'll still get to the end of the breakfast.
Yeah.
I get up to get ready for a 7 a.m. I get up at 5:00 to get up ready for a 7:00 flight. And then I said, I'll get my boarding pass. I was booked for today. They had no available flights until this morning. And then I went into panic mode. And John Griffin, it was John Griffin's idea all along. And I can build back to but I called John Griffin and I start scrambling. Eventually, they were able to put me on a flight last night through Atlanta. I walked into my house in media here at 12:30. But I was getting updates every 10 minutes from the everything all right? You know, are the eggs hot? You know, are we able to afford eggs? I didn't even know if the Cancer Society could afford eggs anymore. But I appreciate it. 20 years ago, maybe longer, Fran Dunphy and I got together and said, the American Cancer Society has Coaches versus Cancer. There's not one school in Philadelphia on the list of top 100 fundraisers. And I looked at Dunphy and said, how could that be? We're in Philadelphia. It's impossible. So what do you think we should do? I said, well, let's do a breakfast. Selection Monday, be cool. We did. And I'm sure Applebee's is one of your sponsors, so we'll give Applebee's a shout out. Applebee's on City Line Avenue. We had 32 people at the first breakfast. 32.
Wow.
30 of them were related to Dunphy. So long ago, Ant, he was the coach at Penn. So we started the breakfast. It picked up steam. It got to probably as many as 600 or 700 people. Yesterday was 350 plus. Be able to put into the coffers about $85,000. Acme is the presenting sponsor. And we shifted it to take some of the burden off of the current coaches. We shifted it that it would be alumni coaches in Philadelphia. And you know, right? You can turn around at a stoplight and there's going to be a guy that coached. So the Dave Pauleys of the world, the Jim Lynams of the world, Nick Nurse was involved, Herb McGee, Bruiser Flint, Joe Lenardi, Dick Girardi, on and on and on. And we had this, just get up there and tell people what you think. Everybody there is into crushing cancer. Let's talk basketball on this day. So we were able, I understand that the young fella who's going to coach LaSalle Nichols was there, which is a beautiful statement. We also added this, Anthony. You are a Philadelphia nut, basketball nut, both of you guys. We asked each school, send us a Hall of Famer. So who walked in the building? Lionel Simmons.
Wow.
Nice.
Who walked in the building? Jeffrey Clark.
Wow.
Who walked in the building? Jeff Owens from Penn. Who walked in the building? Robert Battle. So if you're a geek and you're sitting there, and I mean that affectionately, you're into hoop, like, look around, man.
That's awesome.
Philadelphia was in that building. And we're going to make it bigger and better again next year. But the whole idea is to do away with the American Cancer Society. We want to put them out of business. We want to raise enough money, get the smartest doctors, which is already happening, chastening it, and not beat cancer, crush cancer.
I love it. In fact, you let us do our show there next year.
You got it's done. It's done.
Yeah.
Consider it done.
I've been to many of them, and I what you do, people have no idea what you do from a charity standpoint over the years. My God, everything. Like, I mean, you had one thing that we did where Mike Miss and I were coaching teams, and we did all kinds of games. Remember the games that you did? The stuff that you go to. God bless you, brother. I mean, you always give back.
And I'll be honest with you. To me, like, everybody looks at that position and says, "Oh, it's an audit position." I understand that, and you do have to coach your team. You have to recruit your team. Third is you have to represent your university. You are a face and a voice for your university. So as you're representing your university, think about it. The power, you have it, the power to make one person's day just a little bit better. Just make one day a little bit better. Come on.
I love it.
All of the opportunities, and the same is going on now with my son. All of these opportunities, I told him, you do not say no to anyone. Coaches are in charge of their own time. As long as you are coaching your team first, recruiting your future teams, representing your schools, then you don't have a responsibility. You have an obligation to give back. A lot of people have worked their backsides off and are supporting you. You turn around and lift up the next person.
Yeah, you are always open. I was telling you, I don't know if you remember that I went on the flight with you guys. Yep. You let us in when I was in New York, and you let us in on the flight, and it was just a fun ride. And like you love the attention. Let's talk Bryant, and let's talk. I love it that it's Michigan State. What have you, you know Michigan State, you know Izzo real well. You've had to have some conversations.
Well, first of all, Tom Izzo is a really, really, really close friend. And I'll just share this story with you. He lost in the Big Ten semifinals Saturday afternoon. Philip and Bryant won the America East at 11 o'clock Saturday morning. Tom Izzo called my son Saturday night.
Wow.
So you know it because you've done it. Most coaches go into a hole after you lose.
Yeah.
Oh, woe is me. And it is. It's crushing. He took the time to call him, and he has been in touch with him throughout. And some of the things he said yesterday in his press conference about our relationship, and then his relationship with Phil was really special. But I don't get involved in the X's and O's with Philip, although I did say this. Listen, he has the third tallest team in the NCAA starting. Third tallest starting five in the NCAA tournament this year.
Wow.
I said, but here's what you have to do. If you get them to pledge that they will rebound on every play, if they take one play off, then Michigan State is going to drill you like a doctor, doing a root canal without Novocaine. If you don't rebound, you're out of the game. And the second part of that is their transition. They run relentlessly. And Ant, you're a basketball guy. I'll say it to you this way. When I went to the Big Ten, I thought it was a bang it, bruise it, 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of offense. My mind was blown with the offensive minds in the Big Ten. None second to Tom Izzo. They sprint the ball down the floor. They run every single play. And what they do is they keep coming. It's like Rocky. He just keeps hitting that bag and hitting that bag and hitting that bag. They want your legs to give in. So the only thing I said to Philip is make sure your team commits to rebounding and transition defense. And then we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, they should be good. They rank 4th nationally rebound, and it's playing right into them. Their tempo is pretty impressive, though. They rank like 6th or 7th nationally in the tempo. Bryant does.
Yeah, they play free and easy, and I think it's really cool. Think about it. They're the next to the last game in the first round. After they got in, the only thing I prayed for is that they get a Friday game. There's a difference to playing Thursday and Friday in the tournament. Think about it. By the time they play, 20 or so teams will already be back on their campuses.
Wow.
Right? So you're in the fray. Yeah. The Martellis will be represented in Cleveland, though. I tell you that much.
I know that, man. That's fantastic.
Might have to stop in on that other great Philadelphian that's in Cleveland, Kevin Stefanski, who went to school at St. Joe's Prep with my sons. Say, Kev, how about a little tour of the Browns practice facility?
Yeah. I mean, he's a good coach, too, by the way. Phil, first of all, what did you think of the North Carolina situation with West Virginia?
I'm absolutely positively stunned. This is the bottom line to me. We have taken the selections to a degree of analytics that I don't understand. Like, there are columns and columns and columns and topics and topics and topics. All of those numbers give you a rating. Take out the team name. Take out the team name. Take out the league affiliation. Nowhere on a team sheet that they consider, Anthony, nowhere is there a conference record. They don't acknowledge conference records. So I see a lot of screaming and kicking about the SEC. That's not one of the criteria, right? It's just not there. So the idea that after these columns and columns and columns of numbers, which one of those is quadrant one, that could be a decision. I'm amazed. And is there a point in time where you lay it on a piece of paper and say, is this number disqualifying? Not is this number qualifying.
Right.
And if you're 1-12 against quadrant one, again, I didn't see West Virginia's number, but it would seem to me that there are numbers that disqualify you as much as there are numbers that qualify you.
No,
and
you're right. The minute they should never have been in the conversation.
There you go. There you go. Like, and I just did it with the NIT, and I have thought it for a long time. When I was a member of the NABC board, we did the selections, but it was May. There was no pressure. There was no. You did it, and I thought, holy mackerel, this is truly a numeric case study. I don't know a number, and I haven't talked to my main man Joe Lenardi. I haven't come up with a number that says, oh yeah, well that's clear. Most years, there's always going to be consternation from the 69th and the 70th team. Always. But you can usually find a number and say, well, that number is what happened. In this case, it's flipped. The number to me that's disqualifying is 1-12 quadrant one. And I haven't seen a number that disqualifies West Virginia.
Yeah, I'm with you. The other thing that I don't like, they don't take enough account into how a team finishes, how a team is playing. Because especially in this era of a portal, right? Like your team needs time to gel. Honestly, I don't care what happens in November and December. I want to know how you're playing because you got to allow teams to gel together, right? To give them a true, accurate depiction of how good they are and who they are.
You make a really good point because one of the things, and I don't know that it's a principle or a procedure, but one of the things that I've always been told about the committee is that their responsibility when they're picking at larges is to really honestly look in the mirror and say, can this team win it all? Can this team win a game? Right? Because San Diego State's in a tight spot here. San Diego State is really playing for the whole country.
Yeah.
If they beat Carolina, then they'll be screaming for a little while till the next game tips, right? And then we get on to the next game. But if Carolina wins, the Carolina backers, who are literally only the people that wear Carolina blue, and they'll be able to say, all right, well, yeah, we were good enough to win a game. And then you get on to that next game. And again, 11 seeds do win, but I am with you, and I have personal experience. My last two tournament teams both won the Atlantic 10, right? We won the AQ. We lost our last game of the season both times, and there was a lot of panic among our fan base that, oh my God, we're out now. We're not going to get in. We were in. We were always in. Probably the one year we avoided Dayton by winning the AQ.
Yeah.
The other year, but we were safely in the other year. But that's because of the adage is, oh my God, the whole committee's watching this game, and you know, you and I go all the way back to what was the big deal? How did they do in their last 10?
Yeah.
How'd you do in your last 10? That's not on the board now. Of all these numbers, that's not on the board.
And never has it been more pronounced with the portal. I don't understand it. I mean, go back to Kansas was a top-ranked team coming into the season.
Number one.
You know, and you look at that team, you go, how's that team a number one team in the country? What are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's the one thing I would ask you to think about, and people watching to think about, is when we keep going over, like, these are these are new teams, or they have a whole new team, they have a whole new roster. Yeah, also have to applaud the NCAA, because I'm saying the college basketball world, we start practice now June 1.
Yeah.
When those kids come, do you know what I mean? Like, it was supposed to be skill development, Ant, but now it's straight up practice. Teams are just practicing. You walk into the gym at Temple on July 3rd, and they're working on their zone defense. And
Yeah.
I have an opinion about that. I think it's too much. Not specific to Temple, but I think we should get back to like skill development. Let's make these guys better players, and then start in September with making it a better team.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Hey, Coach, with the San Diego State, North Carolina, mentally, like, do you think there's an edge on either side? San Diego State knowing that they have the whole country behind them, or North Carolina coming in with a little chip on their shoulder, knowing they have something to prove?
I think San Diego State would block out the whole country, right? Because they did not win their league, and they got in. So there's an excitement about that. There's a challenge now, right? You get selected Sunday at 6 o'clock, so 3 o'clock West Coast, and now you have to figure out all these logistics of getting there. Now, one of the great stories in the San Diego State locker room is Brian Dutcher, the coach. He was an assistant coach with the Fab Five in Michigan. So here he is getting his team ready. They've been in the Final Four recently, like 2 years ago, right? They were in the Final Four. So he has an idea. But he also has a roster, I think, that has completely flipped from 2 years ago. Went to the Final Four. 2 years later, it's a completely new roster. So I think the measure for them is they're representing San Diego State first and foremost. They're representing their league, which is a really good, underrated, especially particularly on the East Coast. Like Mountain West. Come on, Mountain West. Yeah, they have 4 teams in, right?
Yep.
There are 4 teams in that league, and you have a program that's been in the Final Four recently. I think that with Carolina, the momentum that they may take from that remarkable second half comeback against Duke, and maybe, just maybe, had they limped out of that Duke game, they were down 24, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
If they limp out of there with a double-digit loss, maybe the committee looks at them differently.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm with you.
So they have some. They're coming in off a loss, but they have some momentum, and they're also, like, let's call it the way it is. They're going in there, not those kids, and not that coaching staff, but they have a black hat.
Oh, yeah.
So who in America doesn't root for the good guy? There's nobody in a Western movie going, man, I hope that gunslinger mows down the whole town.
Let's go through the brackets a little bit with you, brother. So let's start with Duke, and going into it, you should have Flag back. It was amazing. No Brown, no Flag. Proctor played out of his mind. I mean, my God, they're just deep.
The big man in the middle, he blocks everything.
Yeah.
And you know what I like about them? And there's a handful of teams in the country that I see doing this. Michigan State is one, and Duke is one. Those kids play with a lot of joy, right? Like, we have to remember this. Despite the amounts of money that we think they're getting, they're all getting something, but the amounts of money are exaggerated, in my opinion. I see Duke play with joy.
Yeah.
They enjoy playing. And it's not just in Cameron. Like, the 3 of us could pick up 2 dudes, at 4th and Shunk and go play in Cameron, and we'd be good, right? So, but they play with joy on the road, and not in arrogance, not a like, we're a Duke and you should bow down to us. I just think the joy that they play with, and my God, if he's 18 or 19 years old, he's a savant. And just give you food for thought. Cooper Flagg will go to a bad NBA team. He's going to lose more games in his first month in the NBA than he's lost in his whole basketball career. High school, college, summer basketball. He's going to lose more games in 1 month. That's mind-blowing.
It is. So,
but I really do. I like their team. The biggest thing to me is they play with joy.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And then, like, is it not a two-team? I mean, Duke and Florida. I mean, Florida comes at you in waves. How they score is unbelievable. Like, they're playing some good defensive teams and putting up triple digits.
I'm a big fan. So, Ant, you can't put this out on the public airways. No one can ever hear me say this. But this whole thing that defense wins championships, nah. Think about it. Think about how powerful the Eagles' defense was. They won the championship because they scored 55 points in a playoff game and 40 points in a playoff game. That's why they won the championship. No championship has ever been won, even at your level. You're celebrating your big championship. You didn't win 6-4, did you? Right? You don't win 6-4. So I'm big about put the ball in the basket and let the other team chase you.
Yeah.
Right? When you're a defensive coach, and think about it, God rest his soul, and he's in the Hall of Fame. How about how agonized our man John Chaney was on every basket that they gave up?
Yes.
Every single basket. He agonized over it. I just think it's a little bit less stressful in a stressful business. To be offense. I think players want to play offensively.
That's a great point. And you're right. Like, man, those 67, 66. Oh God. And it's freaking out. Like, fill that.
And then you go in. How many press conferences you've been in? And some coach will be up there and go, yeah, that third call in the second half really got us. Really? There's going to be 75 possessions in the game, right? And I'm not being critical.
No.
But you're like every single play. Yet, if you're an offensive team, you don't say, man, I can't believe he missed that wide open three on the fourth possession of the second half. You don't. So you make a really great point about, and they've outscored everybody. They've outscored defensive teams.
Yeah.
They've outscored offensive teams.
Yeah.
Like Alabama, Florida, take you back to like the old Knicks Celtics. Like, let's get it up and down and let's see what we can do. Yeah. So I do like offensive teams. That's why in the back of my mind I have a little bit of a suspicion on Maryland.
Yeah.
Maryland, 5 double-figure scores. They lack depth. The 3 perimeter guys shoot almost 40% from 3. And they give you a little bit of a different look because their defense is a matchup, not a straight zone, not a straight man. And maybe that funkiness in defense, I'm going to anxiously watch their pursuit.
What do you think of St. John's? Could St. John's wear you down? Like, it seems at the 30-minute mark is when teams finally start to wear down against them.
Well, again, and I think this is appropriate to our conversation here. What if? So they're let's call them an average shooting team,
right? What
if they have a below average shooting night? Could they get bounced in that way? Now, one of the things that they have is they have the leading jockey in the game today, right? And my great friend Gino Auriemma told me one time, when you're looking at a horse race, the horses all look the same and they basically run the same. He said, when you're in doubt, bet on the jockey. So anybody out there want to bet against Rick Pitino?
Right. No, that's a great point. Is there anybody else that you like that you think? So you got Maryland. Anybody else you think could make some noise that maybe we're not seeing?
Well, I think that what Houston has put together, just the incredible fierceness that that Houston has put together is extraordinary. And then I think you put Auburn. I haven't studied them as much. I haven't been as zeroed in on Auburn. But you get a number 1 seed because of your body of work. Houston will be a tough out, really be a tough out. And then I think there's a bubbling here. With Arizona. Arizona is a perfect description for what you said earlier in the show. And like November, December, you're scratching it. Wait a second. Arizona lost again?
Yeah.
Arizona lost again. And now, but it's all about matchups.
Yes.
It's all about,
yes.
It's all about, well, what does that team do that you don't? Because these teams are flawed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and that's not a knock.
Yeah.
There are no perfect teams. And I guess if I was right now saying the most perfect team would have to be Duke because of the experience that they just had.
Yeah.
They played without Cooper Flagg, and this is not, they are clearly not Cooper Flagg and the traveling all-stars, right? They have 3 or 4 guys that will go in the first round. And the only knock you would have against them is they're so young. But are they young now, having played at Duke with all that attention and having played 35 games?
Yeah.
Maybe they're not so young.
That's great stuff, man. What are you going to be doing during the tournament?
I'm going to be rooting like heck for Brian on Friday. I'm going to be watching and really anxious to watch all of these teams that I've seen during the year. And now I'm back into the community. I'm going to be doing some corporate talk. I'm actually representing the NABC, the National Association of Basketball Coaches. I'm representing them next Thursday night in Newark at the Sweet 16 for their corporate sponsors. Then the week, I'm going to go to the NIT Final Four. And then I'll go to the Final Four on Friday. I'm going to be at the Final Four Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I have just an awesome honor. I'm getting the Golden Anniversary Award from the NABC NCAA on Sunday morning at the Final Four.
Oh, congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
God bless
and
you.
The whole time, though, Ant, the whole time, you know me.
I know.
I'm going to be looking at, all right, who we bringing north? Yeah. That's what I'm interested in. Who we bringing north? Stay healthy, fellas.
Hey, Coach.
Stay healthy, fellas. And keep raking, man. 78 runs in 7 games. That's what I'm thinking about.
As a Quaker fan, there's 2 jobs open up. There's a guy at Bryant doing a lot of work down there. He's got very little NIL money, and he succeeded.
Yeah.
I mean, you might know some people up here.
Yeah, you know what I told him. Coach your team, man.
Yeah.
All that other stuff will come.
Yeah. You're the best, brother. We love you, man. You're the best. The greatest.
Thanks for including me again.
Thanks, pal. You're the best. Great Phil Martelli. He's always awesome.
I wouldn't mind seeing Philip leading the Quakers with a little up tempo.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You know who went to Duke? Baldy went to Duke.
I know.
You know who's he went to Duke.
Baldy's he saw some rough seas this week. He put out a video.
I'm curious to dive into it. All right, lots to get to. We got Baldy coming up. We love our talks with Phil. Phil's fantastic and breaking it down. I love this tournament. Feels great. It feels like it's going to be a fun one.
I think it's going to be good. I mean, Duke does seem, when you dig in, you try to find a reason against Duke. Don't have a great strength of schedule to this year.
Well, it's the league's down. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, so you look like, because I do like Arizona too, and Arizona, their strength of schedule is like a 4, and Duke's 56. It's a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll dive into it more.
Yeah.
Coming up, let's talk about some of our friends. How about tell us about a little True Mark?
Well, I did. We're going to do a little shady rays.
A little shady rays.
Protect your
Or
eyeballs.
GLAT, yeah.
Let's protect the eyeballs. I like to wear my sunglasses year-round, but some people wait till it gets a little brighter with the sun, and now's the time. So it's never too early to start thinking about summer and the sun. Our friends over at Shady Rays are helping you get in the right frame of mind with their premium polarized shades that won't break your bank. They're an independent sunglass company, which is important, and they offer a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people, so you know they're doing something right. Their sunglasses have durable frames, crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all your outdoor activities, even driving, golf, stuff like that. And if you're a skier or snowboarder, Shady Rays got a brand new collection of snow goggles to help you see clearly and look good on the slopes, and that's available in both adult and kids sizes. They got a ton of colors available, so you can find the perfect pair to match your outfits, your gear, your favorite team. And check this out. If your shades ever go missing or they take an unexpected hit, you don't sweat it because they have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by their lost or broken replacement program. And if you just don't love your shades, you exchange them for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There's absolutely no risk when you shop at Shady Rays. Their team's always got your back. So PHLY viewers and listeners, go to shadyrays.com and save 35% off polarized sunglasses with the code PHLY. Over 300,000 people have rated Shady Rays 5 stars, so use the code PHLY today at shadyrays.com.
All right, let's talk about the Parks Casino. And we'll be there on Thursday and Friday.
Woo-hoo.
First round, we'll be there 11 o'clock. Showtime, 11 to 1
Showtime.
from Parks Casino. So make sure you join us as we hang out and get you ready for all the tournament games. So much to do at Parks Casino, our casino of choice. And, of course, all the headline entertainment, the great food selections. I mean, you name it, they got it all, right? Check out concerts, comedy, MMA, boxing, all at the state-of-the-art Excite Center. Thousands of hot slots, state-of-the-art sports book, beautiful poker room, a collection of award-winning restaurants.
Yeah, they do.
Parks Casino, this is how you win. Pennsylvania's #1 casino. Tickets on sale now for these headliners. July 26th, Joe Gatto from Impractical Jokers.
Larry!
July 3rd, Grammy-winning singer-songwriter Gary Clark Jr.
Here
You
come
come
old
on,
flat top, he come.
Grooving up slowly, he got JoJo eyeball.
The comedian Ron White on March 20th. That's coming up Thursday.
Can't fix Grimes.
April 11th, the Motown Sounds of the Isley Brothers.
Ooh, this old heart of mine's been broke 1,000 times. Each time you break away, I fear you've gone to say.
He loves it, man.
I like the Isley
That's a
Brothers,
good
man.
song, man.
No, but you guys are the best. Like, you guys
Start
get it.
grooving into it, man. Yeah.
Psychic medium Matt Frazier, April 18th.
I'm feeling BG might be retiring today.
And the band live, all right? PAs only.
Oh, now I feel it coming back again.
You guys are two hams. I love it. Comedian Gary O on April 26th. Larry the Cable Guy, May 16th.
Get her in.
Comedian Mark Norman, July 12th. Don't forget dinner and drinks before the show. Liberty Bell Gastropub and Beer Garden. Parks Grill Steakhouse, Bamboo Noodle House, Chickies and Pete's. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. My man Scotty Sharp says Bob Morris outright over Alabama.
No, him and my buddy Hicksy.
Bob Morris.
Buddy Hicks.
Scotty Sharp, who's Sharp. Tooch's brother, Scotty
Oh,
Sharp.
it's Tooch's brother?
Yeah, Scotty Sharp knows his thing.
Yeah,
Says
yeah.
Robert Morris, a 22-point underdog,
I got a friend
is
who's
the
been
shocker
typing
of the
up
world
Bobby
against
Mo's
Alabama.
all year with me. Bobby Mo.
Bob Morris.
Yeah.
All right. We have a Duke alum. I'm curious to see how this man will be watching.
I'm just glad he's safe on shore because that video is rough.
Well, there was a guy that was found, I don't know if you saw this, at sea after 80, like some ridiculous.
What do you mean, on a boat?
Yeah, I got to find this story.
Yeah, Baldy's
He was
gotta
a
be careful.
fisherman. Yeah, we worry about Baldy. He was a fisherman, and he was like a couple weeks at sea. and he found that, and they found him. I gotta, yeah, it's amazing.
He was
story.
dead or alive?
No, he was alive. Thank God. Yeah.
He's living off the fish. How do you drink water? You can't drink
Oh, that
seawater.
would be easy for Baldy.
I don't know.
Can't drink
I gotta
seawater,
ask. We gotta ask Baldy this. Time now for the one, the only Baldy.
Baldy, Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Ay, Baldy, Baldy. Oh, he likes meats and football. Oh, Baldy.
There he is, the legend, Duke's own.
Huh? How we doing?
Wait, now we're worried about you.
You are?
Yeah, you incurred some rough seas.
Oh yeah, I was in some rough water yesterday, man. Had a storm came on us. I was at Rose Island. I was diving in Rose Island yesterday, and it's off of the coast of Nassau in Bahamas. And I saw the clouds. My captain JJ was out there. We're out in this boat, and the reef was unbelievable. And so, but I couldn't get out of the water, man. It was just too good. But I saw the storm coming. By the time I got into the boat, this storm was on us, man. And it was so bad that we literally lost our bearings because we had no visibility. So we couldn't see any land. So we're like sort of like aimless. And it was freaking temperature was dropping. The rain was coming in sideways. Our boat was just getting hammered. And the seas were getting rough. I was freezing myself, but I wasn't dressed for any of that stuff. And then finally we found like this. We found like, it wasn't a Coast Guard or anything like that, but it was kind of like this military boat going by us. So we're like, where the hell is Atlantis at? And he just pointed at us and started going that direction. Then the storm started lifting a little bit. We started getting some visibility. And, after about 45 minutes, kind of got our bearings and, found where we were supposed to get to.
Let's watch this. Can you play this, Andrew? Let's watch. This is you yesterday.
All right, let me see. Yeah, it was wicked.
Yeah, you never checked in later. I was worried about you, man. You said you were checking in later.
Oh my
It looked like
God.
it was going side. It looked like the boat was going sideways.
Oh yeah, we were just bobbing up and down out there in the rough seas, man. That boat wasn't big enough for the seas we were in.
I got to give you this story. I want you to be careful, right? This
All right.
story just came out. A Peruvian fisherman was found alive after drifting at sea for 94 days.
94 days.
Yes, Maximo Napa was rescued from a small fishing boat after being spotted by an Ecuadorian vessel off the coast of Chimbote in northern Peru.
Okay.
Do you know this story, Baldy?
No, I don't, but I've been in the waters of Chile and Peru. Like those waters are freaking cold, man. The water in Chile never, literally, like no pun intended, the water never warms up in Chile. But if you're in Peru, you get a little better currents in Peru. But I mean, the only way you're surviving 94 days is if you're getting some rainwater, because you're just trapping rainwater. Otherwise, you're not going to survive.
So this is what he said. So the fisherman had set sail on December 7th from the port of San Juan de Marcona.
Okay.
Bad weather conditions and the current caused him to lose course. His small boat, which had no radio beacon, ended up on the high seas.
Yeah.
He said what happened, but I don't know how he survived. What do you eat for 94 days?
You're trapping some fish. You're probably catching some fish somehow, for your protein. You're probably eating it raw, which is no big deal. You could do that. you're trapping rainwater for, just to keep yourself hydrated. So you don't just completely wither away. You're protecting yourself from the sun, presumably with some kind of sail or something like that. Yeah, so it's the minimalist, but yeah, you're doing something to catch some kind of fish.
Wow.
However you're doing that, whether you got some bait or whether you're just like, I would cut my finger, just to get blood in the water to attract some fish.
What?
And then I'd be like trying to, slap the fish out of the water like that. I was trying to do that yesterday. I cut my leg on a reef because I wanted to attract some big fish. So I did. I attracted a lot of like snapper yesterday just by the blood. But I was hoping to attract some bigger fish than that, just by leaking some blood. But that's kind of some of the things I would do.
So you purposely cut your leg to bleed to attract the fish. Wow.
It wasn't enough. It was just, I felt like I was swimming just in an aquarium with just reef fish, but I wanted something bigger, bigger grouper or something, I saw a giant grouper the other day. So I wanted to attract something. I don't care if it was a shark or whatever. I was close enough to the boat. Like, if some tiger was coming at me, I knew I'd be okay. But like, I just wanted to attract bigger fish. So I purposely cut myself on a reef, and I was hoping my leg and the blood it just wasn't enough though. It wasn't enough volume of blood.
But the shark. Now let me ask you a question. So you're not worried that if you attract the sharks, you're still good?
Well, I wanted to see sharks. I wanted to see some reef sharks yesterday. Like I was kind of saying my prayers in the morning that I was going to see something. And when I did it, I wasn't distressed, but I really wanted to see them in action because they really aren't interested in me. But, like the only shark that really puts fear in me is a bull shark, just because they're so weird. You don't know what they're going to react to. And I have a shark repellent watch.
Okay.
That it sends out this sonar that really, because if I was scuba, I wasn't scuba diving, I was free diving. But if I was scuba diving, like sharks aren't coming at me with all the bubbles that are coming out of my tank. They're just not going to come at me. So I'm not worried about that. But free diving, like they might be attracted by something. They might be a little bit curious because they just rely on their hearing and their smell. They really don't see too good. So like they could smell the blood. Wow. They can hear certain things. So yeah. I mean, sharks are, they're sharpest. They're not the sharpest things out there.
Well, you are correct with the rainwater, and he says he ate roaches. I don't know where he got the birds and turtles.
Roaches?
Yeah, you could definitely get the turtles though. They're like on the top of the water. You could get to you can see them. They're coming because they got to breathe. They're amphibious, so they got to get their heads out of the water to breathe, and then they can submerge. But you could get turtles for sure, something like that.
You can make a makeshift net as well if you have like clothes or something, and you could try to net fish.
Oh, he's a fisherman. Yeah. He might have already had the net.
Yeah, I'm sure he would. Roaches? Where do you find a roach on a
roach-filled boat?
Well, they could attach themselves to the boat for sure. Like where they're coming from, I'm not sure, but roaches are a good source of protein. You read about stories in prison where they're eating roaches to get their protein in them because they're not feeding them any protein. So they're eating cockroaches, they're eating certain beetles, things like that for the protein.
Oh my God, that's wild. Baldy, you think you could survive like a couple weeks at IC?
I don't know, cuz like I don't think I'm the greatest survivalist. Like I think I could find the water, I could trap the water. I think I could do certain things like that. The food thing, I know my energy would go pretty quick if I wasn't eating.
Yeah.
So like it just depends on how sharp my brain is to be able to, like if I could catch a fish, like I know I could survive on fresh fish. Like I know I could clean it. You could basically cook it in the sun to some degree, So I feel like I'd have some survival skills, but I don't know, a couple of weeks out there, I don't know how long I'm going to go, cuz I don't feel like I'm Robinson Crusoe like that.
I don't know. I think we back Baldy.
Oh, 100%.
We back Baldy.
Baldy could definitely survive.
I think you could do it. But you're right. The sun is another thing that you got to battle.
Yeah.
On the boat, like you'll fry up.
Yeah, you'll get cooked. You get cooked out there, man. Like that would beat you up bad. That's going to dehydrate you too.
Yeah.
It's going to just zap you.
People in the chat want to see Baldy on an episode of Naked and Afraid.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to be on Naked and Afraid. No, thanks. Survivor. I don't want to do Survivor.
Yeah.
I don't want to do any of those shows.
Duke, you're a proud Dookie. What are your thoughts for the tournament?
Well, I mean, did you watch the North Carolina game the other day?
Yeah.
So they should have lost the game. There's 3 seconds left. The guy steps into the free throw line, steps into the lane when the guy's shooting a free throw, and they lose the chance to tie it.
Yeah.
Like they should have lost that game. So, but Cooper Flag, look, this is his tournament. This is his tournament to go be, I don't know, the number one. Can he be? You tell me, cuz can he be the number one seed? Can he be Jason Tatum? Does he compare to Tatum to you?
Oh, he's all world. He's a great player.
But
He'll be
remember
healthy.
when Tatum came out? We loved Tatum when he came out.
Yeah, no.
Remember that?
Yeah. He'll be.
Look it up, though. Look it up. Look, I think he was the 3rd pick. Was he the 3rd pick that year?
No. Like this is the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. Like the Tatum
It is.
thing.
But I'm
once
comparing
the
him to
Sixers got
Tatum.
fleeced for Tatum. Boston
Yeah.
fleeced them. Right.
Okay, but like, did they take him with the 1st pick, cuz?
That was the
I thought he
Fultz.
was the 3rd pick.
He was. That was the Fultz pick.
Oh, that was Fultz. That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
thanks,
Sorry, cuz. I
Baldy.
didn't mean to
Yeah.
do that to you.
That was the
Oh, my
whole
God.
Fultz. The
What a
Sixers got
disaster.
fleeced by the Celtics and blah blah blah. But
But can you put Cooper Flag in Tatum's category right now?
he's a better prospect.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how.
No, he's a
because
way.
obviously
He's
Tatum.
dude. He's Andrew Luck coming out. He's Manning coming out.
Okay.
Like
all right.
he's it. Like he's
But this is
ultimate
my
franchise.
point is,
Wemby.
so you're asking me about Duke. Like this is his tournament. Like he's got to like basically take Duke to the finals here.
Yeah. No, listen, he's
Yeah.
coming back. He's hurt. He'll be
Right.
he'll be back. They showed a lot of moxie beating Louisville in the championship game. Louisville's a tough team. They beat him. No Flag, no Brown, and Duke beat them. So
Okay.
will you watch? Will you watch the tournament?
I'm curious. I'm not really into this whole NIL thing.
Yeah.
And but for whatever reason, I am highly interested in St. John's.
Yeah.
I grew up a huge St. John's fan growing up in New York. We all followed the program. Like I just saw something with Walter the Truth Berry the other day.
Walter Berry. I love Walter Berry. Yeah.
Chris Mullen, Bill Wennington, Mark Jackson. Louis Carnesecca was my coach when I was growing up. Like I love Louis. So, Patino's done a good job. Like I know they've got all these kids that are being paid, but I am interested. First, they win the Big East for the first time in 40 years. So I'm interested in St. John's. So I'll definitely watch that. I'll watch some Duke. Other than that, I don't know if I have a great rooting interest.
You give us the whole NIL. They got NIL in football. It doesn't stop you watching the college football. You're just as interested.
I'm not that interested either in that either. Be honest with you. It's just 18-year-old kids shouldn't be making millions before they've produced. Like they're being paid before they can produce. Like that's my issue with it.
Yeah.
Like if you're Cooper Flag and you're the first pick in the NBA draft and you're all that, all right, I can justify it a little bit. I can't do it for these kids that have done nothing. Quinn Ewers is that guy does nothing for me as a quarterback, and he's getting $5 million a year. Like I can't justify it.
Did you see, this is interesting, that Dion is looking for an opponent for his spring game, and Syracuse is
Really?
interested. Yeah. So
Wow.
they could actually play a game that you could actually see Syracuse and Colorado, which would then open up the door to like some sort of spring limited schedule. I can totally see it.
Oh, no question. No question. Because honestly, let's just say you're Georgia, you're Texas, you're even Dion, whatever. Like, you're going to have, everybody has a spring game, and they sell out, Matt Rule's got a spring game in Nebraska. Like, the only reason why Fox ever got, I told this to Matt, the only reason why Fox ever got into college football was because David Hill, who was running Fox Sports and is Australian, went to a Nebraska spring game because his wife's sister went to Nebraska. And he saw 75,000 people, maybe it was a little more, filling up a spring football stadium. And he's like, what is this? And why aren't we involved? But if you're Georgia, one of these big time programs, and you're having a spring game in your stadium, and it's full live, you're trying to get the best. Why wouldn't you play a game? And see your kids compete against other people.
Yeah.
I think, yes. Like, I think this thing could blow up. I mean, it's interesting. I'm going to be at Colorado. I told you. I'll be at their spring game. I'll be at their pro day, April 4th. So 2 weeks. So I can't wait to actually talk to Dion about that and see where it's at. We'll see James Franklin next Friday.
Next Friday.
So
yeah,
next Friday. So I'm anxious to talk to him about where that might go.
Yeah, I love this whole concept of it because, I mean, by the way, you could do it. Like you could play now. Maybe you play like a limited 2
Well,
to.
you could control it.
Yeah,
you could still have the referees out there, but you can have a quick whistle. You can control it so it's not as violent as a real game. You're still going to tackle to the ground, but you could have drills against other teams, just like we do at the Senior Bowl and all this, where it's one-on-ones, and you could really evaluate your players against their players. So you could really, and then you could play a 75-play scrimmage. You could still kick off, maybe cover the kick. Like you can control it to a degree, so that it doesn't get away from you, where it's just this, Saturday afternoon, college football thing. Like you can control a little bit, but still get a lot out of it.
Yeah, I wonder if you know how it is. You open the door. First of all, that game, let's just say they play, that game will outdraw NBA Finals.
No question. Well, you could sell that package. You could sell that package to ESPN, to Fox, CBS. You could put it on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Saturday night, CBS, or ESPN.
You could have you could go from freaking April to June.
Well, you could
playing Saturday night football.
You could stagger the games.
Yeah.
Where you're having a spring game.
Yeah.
Every Saturday afternoon, Saturday night.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's enough programs, and people would watch. I would watch.
Ohio State.
It would be the dream.
No question. Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan. You could 20 teams right off the top of your head right now that you schedule games.
Yeah. No, it is. As always, thanks to our friends at Roku.
But you know what's cool about that is
Xfinity.
if that's but one real quick, cuz if that's a Dion original thought, and I don't know that it isn't, that's a great suggestion for college football.
It is. Thanks to our friends at Xfinity, of course, and Comcast, and Roku, Samsung. We continue on YouTube. Yeah,
but they could do Sunday afternoon and ruin the NBA.
Ruin it.
Ruin the NBA playoffs.
Oh yeah,
no question.
No, I mean, people would watch it. No doubt. I mean, I would love it. Be awesome. Yeah. Let me ask you about some of the moves the Eagles made. Azeez Ojulari.
Yeah. Azeez, look, he's had injuries. He has got a strong injury history. But he was a second-round pick out of Georgia. He's got real edge ability to come off the edge. Like, it's a good sign. Like, I still, the Giants didn't re-sign him. And they don't have, I just got off a Giants podcast. They've got lousy depth on the edge right now behind their starters. Like, what, if they didn't, like, it could be just another Giants, castaway that could really add firepower to the Eagles.
Yeah, I was shocked.
It's a great signing. It's a great. I don't know what the contract is because I didn't see the contract, but regardless, like they've got a veteran edge, a guy with edge ability that will be a rotational player that can win off the edge for you.
And listen, look, you don't have a lot of money, so you're not spending a lot of money. You don't have a lot of money to spend. So you get Ojulari, and then you go get Uche. Like I talked to Spags about Uche, and he goes, I like the kid. He loves ball. It was hard for him to fit into our multiple system in the middle of the season, right? Because he runs those multiples. He goes, it's a lot to learn, right? It's a lot to learn in the middle of the year. He'll be much better fit in Philadelphia because Vic is not as multiple when it comes to multiple fronts.
Well, he's a Michigan kid. He's a Michigan kid. It was a high pick. He had one good year at New England. I'm just going off the top of my head here. He had one good year at New England. But I feel like he's still young. Like he just finished his first contract. Is he 25 years old? 24, 25 years old with an upside, and the Eagles are a straight 4-man front. There's not these multiple fronts and all this stuff. So it's a good fit. Like they want to dress 8 defensive linemen, every game day and rotate those guys through. I remember real quick. I remember one year I thought Max Crosby after 14 weeks was the defensive player of the year. So I'm out in San Francisco and I see Nick Bosa. So I see him before the game and he kind of bumps into me down the field and he just whispers to me, so you think Max is the MVP, huh? Like he was like, he heard me. So I go, yeah, well, he plays every snap, Nick, and you don't. And he's better against the run than you are. And he's got good numbers. He goes, yeah, but I'm trying to play 20 games to win a Super Bowl. Meaning Max is just trying to finish a 17-game season. And the point is that the Eagles, when their rotation is put together, they're trying to play a 20-game schedule.
Yeah.
They're trying to win a Super Bowl. They're not just trying to finish out the season. So when you look at the rotation of their defensive linemen, they're rotating for a 17-game schedule. A 20-game schedule. Or in last year's case, a 21-game schedule. So there's 3 or 4 extra games that you have to factor in when you're trying to keep their snap counts, to a reasonable number. And so Uche and Azeez Ojulari are both high picks coming from major programs that have had good numbers in a season here, a season there, with some injuries. Who knows? There's an upside to that.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think it's smart, especially since you don't have a lot of money to spend. I love the depth piece. Like you're gonna already come back. You got Hunt. You obviously got Nolan Smith. I mean, you're putting in a rotation.
But we talked to but this is how he thinks, and we've talked to Joe Banner about this. Like they made a mistake with Bryce Huff. Well, but Nolan Smith was a 32nd pick. Like here he is. Now he's a full-time starter. Like sometimes you just keep throwing players at the position. Like this draft is full of edge rushers and defensive. They're going to draft an edge rusher. And so maybe that edge rusher is ready to go and he beats out Uche and Ojulari. So what? So you spend a little bit of money. You got some depth there. Maybe there's an injury. You can't. You need depth at that position.
Yeah.
So they're going to draft an edge rusher, and they're probably going to draft a defensive tackle because the tackle position is loaded in this draft.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. So you want Dayon Walker at 6'8", 345 pounds, and just be a space eater inside? All right, go get him in the 4th round. I mean, I could find you a player that can make your team in every round on the edge or inside in this draft.
Yeah. Nah, I'm with you. What do you make of this past week of free agency? What stood out to you?
Well, the fact that we just went through free agency and the Steelers and Giants still don't have a quarterback. Like you imagine you're going in now. The draft is the draft and it's a crapshoot. We've seen it every year. I don't care if it's Shador or Cam Ward or Jackson Dart. It's a crapshoot. You really don't know what you're getting. These teams don't have a quarterback, and they're waiting on a 36-year-old quarterback that's on his fourth team in 4 years, and Russell Wilson, and you're banking on a 41-year-old quarterback that you hope can come back and play, and you don't even know if he's going to want to play. Like so there's the quarterback thing was crazy. And you're telling me Geno Smith with Tom Brady with the Raiders is your answer at quarterback with the Raiders? It's a little crazy to me. The money, flew out the door. I like Milton Williams. I wouldn't give him an $80 million contract, cuz I've never seen that guy dominate a game before. That's what you're asking him to be. You hope that he can become that guy, but he's never had to be that guy. So I don't know. Teams that they had a lot of money, spent the money, but I don't know how much better they are. Like the New England Patriots, still the worst offensive line in football. Like, all right, so you got Harold Landry and Milton Williams. You're still the worst offensive line in football. If I was the Giants, I told this to the Giants on the podcast, I would go spend a third-round pick and see if I could pry Joe Milton III from the Patriots. Like, that kid's got a cannon for an arm. He played week 18. He was a stud. He was a good the last year of Tennessee. Like, I don't know what he's going to become, but he's a better option than anything they have there.
Let's go put on that Central Florida tape, and you can see how the kid can play. Listen, I'm with you. I wasn't joking. I was serious. Tanner McKee. If I'm one of these teams, I go to Tanner McKee. I go to the Eagles and go, I want Tanner McKee. I think he's big. He can move a little bit. He's got a great arm. I mean, what do you like? Why would you go into it with Kenny Pickett or any of these other kids?
He actually might be Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Let's just say, let's say his upside is Nick Foles. Well, Nick's been a starter in this league.
Yeah.
Obviously won a Super Bowl, but he's been a starter in this business. Like he wasn't the most mobile guy, but he was 6'5", 230 pounds, and was smart and was competitive. I don't know. You can win games with those guys.
I agree. I'm with you. All right, what's on tap for you?
Well, I'm breaking down a lot more of these defensive linemen all day today, and we've got a couple shows to do tonight. And
you're in Florida, right?
I'm in Florida right now.
Yeah.
But I'm just literally I'm going to go watch Cam Ward at Washington State and study. I'm going to know everything about Cam Ward before I watch his pro day and talk to him next Monday. So I'm getting deep into these quarterbacks. We had Kyle McCord on. I'm going to go watch more Kyle tape. We like Kyle, the person. We like some of his tape. So I'm just getting deeper into these quarterbacks and these defensive linemen right now.
Yeah, watch some of the Ohio State stuff from 2 years ago. All right?
Okay, I will.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and watch these kids in other programs.
Because, remember, he and Marvin were, very close.
Yep.
So,
No, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and watch it.
Because that's the interesting thing. I think you learn a ton about these quarterbacks when you see them at their previous stops and not just, their previous year.
No, it's really a good point, because obviously Bo Nix had 61 starts, some at Auburn, a lot at Oregon. You can go back and watch a lot of games at two different places. And that's the same thing with Cam Ward. You can watch him. I'm not going to go back to Incarnate Ward, but I'll watch him at Washington State, and watch him obviously at Miami. So all these kids are at different schools now, multiple schools. So I'm going to see what I can find out. Because, honestly, if I watch Shedeur Sanders, it's just hard because there's so much quick game to his game.
Yeah.
And then when he does go down the field and he does go through progressions, I don't see stick accuracy to Webster or Travis Hunter. So I'm trying to filter 100 throws to 10 that are NFL throws. But you have to get through the 90 throws that are just BS, but that's the college game.
No, and especially the way he had it too. I mean, he just lacks he doesn't have that.
But his arm just doesn't look electric.
No,
it looks like it's just like this. I'm not going to say it's a lazy motion, but it's not.
It doesn't have twitch to it like that.
It doesn't have twitch to it.
No,
he's not a twitch. He does, and I think you got to be able to just laser these throws.
Yeah.
The red zone. You just got to laser.
Yeah.
There's no, if you get, just take a call. If you get Christian Gonzalez, you get Quinyon Mitchell, and you're making these lazy throws to the sideline, they're going to jump these throws, man. They're too good on the edge.
I'm with you. I'm with you. All right, my brother. Stay off the water in the storm. All right?
It's a nice sunny day here in Fort Lauderdale. No storms. The water's not, they tell me the visibility isn't great today. I'm just staying right here in the film room all day.
Nice. Be safe.
Yeah.
All right?
All right, buddy.
We love you.
Man.
Thanks, brother.
He's out of his mind.
Paulie on the high seas is the greatest, man.
He's crazy, dude.
He's the best. All right. Time now for the Rite Aid back in the day moments.
We're going back. We're going back. We're going back in the day with Rite Aid. Yeah!
All right. There's a press conference coming up at noon. A lot of people are speculating BG. So we'll go back in time. The little BG
He apparently
fun.
hung his cleats up on Rocky.
Yeah. Love some BG.
Yeah. Oh, BG, all timer.
Salute, BG.
Yeah.
Great career. Great career. If it's the
Salute.
end.
Salute,
All-timer.
BG. Fantastic.
Hey, can I just mention something? I was looking at the picture. I was watching a video of me with you and Baldy, and I had to take a picture of it. I got to get some makeup or something, dude. I look like Powder, that movie. I'm so pale. Fraser, you got to get some different lights on me or something. We got color.
I guess you got the tan.
Gotta warm you up.
Look at me, man. It's like, what the heck?
You look like a ghost. You look
Yeah,
like the
dude.
ghost, like a Crip
I look ridiculous.
gang member.
I look ridiculous.
He looks like don't you look like a Crip gang member?
Yeah.
An albino.
An albino, yeah.
Yeah, man,
You don't actually look that way. It's just the lighting.
Yeah, I gotta get some lighter filters on here or something, dude. Or
Well,
makeup.
I mean
Where's
compared
Vince?
next to you.
Where's Vincent? I need a makeup budget for this place.
Yeah, look at that.
Jeez, oh man.
Yeah, with that hat and the flannel.
It's not a
The
good
gray
look.
is not flattering.
Not a
right
good
now.
look. at all.
That flannel, the hat.
Yeah, man.
You look
Yeah,
scared.
you need darker
You
colors.
really do look like you look like
The ghost.
Eddie Ray says I look like a chill Q-tip.
Oh man.
All right. On that note, that'll do it. Great job, Frazier. Excellent.
True.
Thanks for hanging, everybody. We love you. All right. Be careful for the albino. Albino bike chain. Thanks, everybody. We love you. See you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.